Hey guys, my name is Humphreys, and today I wanted to answer the question what to do when you want to go to a different church. This is going to apply to those that want to go to a different church than their parents go to, or just leave and go to a different church. I have a few suggestions that I want to make today on this topic. So the first point that I want to make is to the children. I want to tell you, if you want to go to a different church, be brave and communicate to your parents about your decision without projecting what they will think. I find that a lot of young people are afraid to talk to their parents about their decision to leave a church because they project it on their parents. They feel like their parents will not agree with their decision or they'll not be happy. So they would rather just remain quiet without talking to their parents. But I want to encourage you, go and have a conversation with your parents about your decision to leave the church, because this is gonna bring a sense of maturity to the issue, but also you give your parents an opportunity to have a conversation with you. So be brave and talk to your parents about your decision to leave the church. Number 2, be gracious to your parents, more especially if your parents respond to your decision with a little bit of resistance, or maybe sometimes maybe a lot of it. But however they respond, some parents will be excited that, hey, my son or my daughter is now going to a different church. They are making their own decisions. But some parents will actually have a hard time. And if your parents have a hard time responding to your decision, it's not really because they are rejecting you or they are rejecting your church, but actually they are dealing with grief because you are detaching from their church, and any sort of detachment brings grief, and that's how we respond to detachment. We grieve, we mourn, and sometimes parents can respond as though they are fighting you, and some can respond as though they don't like your decision. But really underneath all of that fighting is that they are actually struggling with detachment. They are mourning, they are grieving this loss, because it is a loss. Somehow, for some it's a big loss because maybe they're dealing with shame as well. For some, they're just concerned, really genuinely concerned about your spiritual growth. So they might have a certain level of resistance. And I want to encourage you to be gracious in a way that you can take on certain things and know that they're dealing with a grief of detachment. Number 3, this is for any person that wants to leave a church. I want to encourage you, go talk to the pastor of the church you are leaving from. Most people tend to just leave a church and they don't go to the leadership of the church, or they don't go to the pastor to say to the pastor, I want to leave. Now, there will be certain times that we are leaving a church because we are unhappy with certain things in the church. But I still want to encourage you to go and talk to the pastor of the church you're leaving, because if there is something else that you feel like the church should do better, you need to raise that up so that you give the church the chance to grow, because they need it. The church leadership or the pastor, they also need a chance to grow. And I feel like most people just leave churches without giving their pastors an opportunity to grow. And I think sometimes we leave churches and we might be surprised if you go to the pastor and say, hey, this is an issue. Sometimes people don't even know that there is an issue with something else until when you raise it up, until when you bring it up, then people have a chance to respond to that. Now, some will take it and some will not. That's not up to you, but you have done your part. Your part is to communicate to the pastor, to communicate to the leadership of the church, and give them a chance to grow if there is something. And there might be some moments that you leave a church, not because you have bad blood, not because there's something there, but just because it's no longer working for you. Maybe there's certain things that you like for your children, or maybe for your family, and they're not really happening in that church. It's okay for you to leave. And it's okay for you to go to the pastor and say, hey, by the way, God is calling us somewhere else. But I thank you for the work that you've been doing here. I've been super blessed and I've been encouraged here. I appreciate it. And let them give you a blessing and pray for you. That's actually a great way to leave a church. Number 4, I want to encourage you to go and talk to the pastor of the church that you want to go to. Some people just join a church, spend ages without, talking to to the pastor of the church they have just joined. Now, I understand there are sometimes some churches make it hard for members to meet the pastor, but make the effort. Talk to the pastor. Talk to him about their mission, his passion. What do they do for outreach? Why do they do certain things? Have a conversation with that pastor, because it's going to help you to really engage and see where you're at. And lastly, if you have joined another church, I want to encourage you to get fully involved. Be there, be a part of the church, because you have really decided to be a part of it. So get engaged, be involved, because we don't go to church to just consume. We go to church to contribute. And I want to encourage you, if you have joined a different church, go and be a part of it. Now, there's some times when you are like, hey, I either maybe got burned, or maybe there's some things that are going on in my life right now and I feel like it's not good for me to really plug in. It's okay for you to let them know that, hey, I would like to connect, but at the moment I'm unable to until this season passes. And most leaders do understand, so it's okay for you to do that. But get engaged, be a part of it, get involved. It's actually good for you. In the next video, I'll talk about how a church leadership should respond when someone leaves their church. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your presence here. Please hit that button and subscribe to this channel so that you can get those notifications. Have a beautiful day.